Hariom dear students, let us start our second poem geography lesson. This is really a very interesting poem and you will definitely like it children. Before starting this lesson, let me ask you some questions. Children, have you ever seen our earth from a certain height, just like from aeroplane or jet plane or from helicopter? Have you seen your locality? How does it look like? How your home look like? Or how your area looks like? Maybe not now. Now in this poem, our poet by name, see here I have given you the name, Gvkcv. He had explained very beautifully in the poem how a particular area looks like when we see it from a certain height. Okay, shall we start children? Yeah, let us start. Let us know about the poet first children before starting the poem. So our poet name is Gvkcv. You can see the picture of our poet here. He is our poet and he was born on March 13, 1935. So when was he born? He was born on March 13, 1935, and he is a Pakistani American novelist and as well as a poet and essayist also. Though he was born in Pakistan, now the place is in Pakistan children. Previously it was in India itself. After the division, his birthplace has gone into the border of Pakistan. So we are calling him as a Pakistani. Though he was a Pakistani, he settled in America, so we call him as a Pakistani American novelist and also a poet and essayist. And he is a resident of Texas. His works are primarily magical realism, blending fantasy and harsh realism. So most of his poets are about realism, and some of his notable works are the Native. It was written in the year of 1972, and A Different World in 1978, Figures of Enchantment in 1986, and The Loss of India in 1964. These are a few of his most notable works. Okay, children? Yeah. As I have asked you in the beginning of the class itself, children, can you imagine what your city would look like if you saw it from 10,000 feet above the ground? Have you ever imagined it? Yeah, neatly planned and perfect in proportion like a geometric design. It would look straight as something very different from what it actually is while you are in the thick of it. Here is a poet's description of just such a view of the city and some questions that come to his mind. So, see, when you go to a certain height and see your locality from certain height, how does it look like? Like no geometrical proportions, it might be like a rectangular or a square or a circular in a proper shape and proper measurement. Definitely not. It will definitely not be a planned one. So I have given you a picture of a land area which is being taken from certain height. If you see any of the single particular area, how does it look like? Does it look like a very planned one in a rhythmatic construction? Definitely not. In a different shades it will be. So now here in this poem, we are going to discuss about the poet's description of just such a view. So now we are going to discuss about the poet description of such a view of a city. So he is going to explain about the view of a particular city from a certain height, and at that point of time when he is viewing that area from certain height, some questions have come to his mind. What were these questions? How he had felt when he had seen particular area from certain height? All those things we are going to see now. Okay, children? Yeah. So here is the first stanza of the poem. Let us start. When the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had. Seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile, there seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard, unplanned and without style when jet sprang into the sky. The children here, the poet is saying that when Jet sprang into the sky, that means when he observed the things from the height, from the jet plane. See here you can see the jet plane in the sky. So when this jet sprang into the sky, sprang in the sense, see I have given you the meaning, rise. Sprang in the sense rise. So when the jet rise in the to the sky, it was clear why the city had developed into the way it had, because he had observed things from height that we could see there is a lot of logical development of the existence at present. How the city is looking, there is no proper planning and proper development in the plan. It was just like no logical development of existence, just to exist, to live we have to develop. So that was, there was a lot of a logical development in the existence, and it seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile. That means children here, if you see, when he had seen from the height, it was clear that why particularly the cities have taken a specific shape and development, because there is no proper planning. As I told you, there is no geometrical view or shape. uh, there might not be any specific shape or a development. Okay, he just looked at the miniature of the city, that is the shape of the city, where the mile is reduced to inches. Okay, because if you go to villages or somewhere, no, how do you see the place here? It looks like we measure it in the form of a miles, isn't it? But in the cities, we can't do that. It is scaled to inches. Scaled in the sense it is measured in the form of a inches. The miles are measured in the form of inches. When he went up in the sky, he had seen that there was a lot of a logical development in the city. There is no proper planning, and even the land is measured in the form of inches, not the miles. And he also emphasized that what is this haphazard or unplanned, like no, without any proper plan or without any proper order, they have had a huge development. It seemed an inevitable, that means an unavoidable circumstances where the development had taken place, but without any proper plan and order. See, there seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard and planned and without style. So that means because of some unavoidable circumstances, the development, the logical development has taken place without a proper order and proper planning and without any style. It looked like totally irregular thing, not a proper planned and stylish development was not there when he had seen when the jet sprang into the sky. When jet went into the sky, he couldn't do that. He emphasized, that means he analyzed that there was no proper planned and good stylish development. It was just a logical development for the existence of a human being, and also the what do we call measurements or the scaling has changed from miles to the inches. So development, for sheer development had taken place, but it had taken place in an unavoidable circumstances without a proper planning and proper order and without a proper style. That is what he had observed when he was just into the sky in a jet plane. Okay. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. The logic of geography, that land and water attracted man, was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. So when our poet was in a jet plane, and when he had observed all these things, the jet had just moved to a 10,000 feet. That means 10,000 feet height when he was in. He could analyze something, just like it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran and why valleys were populated. That means why human beings settled in valleys or at the rivers especially. So from there he could understand that why the countries had cities, like why cities are placed especially at rivers ran, like at the banks of river where plenty of water is available, and also why valleys were populated, why like how human settled in the valleys and as well as the caves, because of the water resources, isn't it? Because human being cannot live without water, isn't it? See here, when he had observed from the jet plane, he could see that these people were at the edge of the water bodies. Okay, so see here, the countries had the cities where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. The caves or the valleys or the river edge areas were populated especially because of the water resources. We, the human beings, we definitely need a lot of water for everything, for living and for many other things. We need water for factories, for cultivating, isn't it, children? And that is what he had understood. We definitely live very near to the resources what we need, isn't it? And the logic of geography, the land and the water attracted the man. Definitely, when we need something, we get attracted to it, isn't it? So when he had seen that the dry areas or the deserted areas are the places where there are no natural resources. But when natural resources like water it is there, definitely that particular areas were populated much. So it was clearly delineated. That means it was clearly seen that wherever the natural resources like water is there at the edge of our rivers or the valleys, it has become more populated areas. Okay. And here he is also saying that he reiterated that the land and water had attracted the man's attention for habitation. Definitely we need proper cultivation to live in and proper water to do all our regular what do we call tasks, isn't it? If you want to spend a day without a water, it is highly impossible. So for our proper living, definitely we need water. That's why we were attracted by the natural resources, isn't it? That's why we stay a lot at the river banks or the valleys. That is what he had observed when he went 10,000 feet height from the earth. Okay, children? When the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear the earth was round and that it had more sea than land. But it was clear to understand that man on the earth found causes to hate each other, to build walls across cities and to kill. From that height, it was not clear why. So, when the jet rose to 6 miles high, that is higher than 10,000 feet, he could see from that certain height that the earth was in round shape. So you can see in the picture here what I have given. So the earth was round in shape and it had more sea, that means more water than the land. You can see the land part is very less when compared to the water. You too know, all of you know this, that the land of the earth is less when compared to the water. Almost 70% of earth is covered with water and only 30% or 27% we have land on the earth, isn't it, children? Yeah, so from that height, from 6 miles height, he could see that the earth was round and most of the part was covered with a sea water, and only land was very little. But he felt very miserable. That means he felt very sad that he couldn't understand. It was very difficult for him to understand why such conditions, like men, why do they hate each other, and why do they build walls across the cities, and why do they kill people. He couldn't understand from that point of height. Everything was cool, everyone are constructing their houses and everything at the natural resources. River areas and valley areas were more populated when compared to the other areas, and everybody are living happily, and even the development is becoming more and more. It was not even planned development, but a logical development was happening. And at that point of height, something made him very sad. He felt very sorry at that state, because why these human beings are with a ill will and jealousy. Why do they construct barriers or the borders? See, they construct walls across the cities, barriers across the city, and they do kill, and they don't even give respect to one another. There won't be any mutual respect, isn't it? Why such things are happening? He couldn't understand, and it was not so clear from that point. Everything was seen very clearly, like how the development was there, why people are living only at certain point, because natural resources were there, like water and everything was there. That's why particular areas were more populated than the other areas where there were no water, no natural resources, and the development of the cities is more because of the uh, their people are trying a lot for their existence. A lot of logical development is being happening without a proper planning and proper order, and all these things he could understand from that height. But still he couldn't understand why this kind of a ill will or jealous is, or hatredness is there among the people, and why do they hate each other. Why do they construct walls across the cities, or the barriers or the borders were made compulsory? Why all of them are not living together? Why coexistence is not happening? So all these things he were thinking at that height, and he couldn't get any answers. It was not clear from that height. Okay, children, hope you have understood this. Let us see the summary of the poem, children. Here, the poet he had written the poem to display his concern for the division and friction which was faced by human beings. Because see, in this poem he had explained why such kind of a division is happening, why such friction is happening, why people hate each other. All these things we have discussed. No, so he wanted to display why such things are happening among the human being, why hatredness is there, why such kind of barriers are being built among the people, why they are killing each other. So all these things he wanted to express through his poem. That's why he had written this poem, children. And when he had observed the things from the height, he could see logical development for existence. There is no planned or proper development in the human being's life. He could able to see only the logical development of the existence when he had seen from certain height. And it became clear to him that why cities have taken specific shape and development. It is not because of the plan, just it is because of the natural resources, like why the water areas like a river areas or the valley areas are more populated than the other areas. He could understand from such height. And he looked at the miniature shape of the city where a mile is reduced to inches on a scale. So the total miniature, the shape of the city had been observed by him from that height, and he was able to understand that the mile scale has been reduced to inches. That means the livelihood has become more and more costly in the cities. And he also emphasized that what looked haphazard, like what made the people to have such a unplanned development for their own sustenance. Why human beings are having such an unplanned and unordered, and there is no proper stylish development also. And when poet's plane reached the height of 10,000 feet, he was able to comprehend the logic behind setting near water. So when this plane had gone to a 10,000 feet, he could understand that why such kind of a logical development is happening only at particular place, why not in the other place. That is because of the water, like where water bodies are there, like a rivers or the valleys or the ponds, there the development is more than the other areas. And man settled in valleys and caves in the vicinity of water resources. Definitely, human beings need water resources to use that. Human beings have started settling near valleys and caves, isn't it? And he reiterated that land and water attracted the man's attention for habitation. Definitely, the human beings were attracted by the water and land. Where there is a proper land and proper water, human beings got attracted to that particular place for his own habitation, for proper and happy living. And when the plane reached another 6 miles, all these observations were done when the plane was at 10,000 feet, and when it had reached 6 miles, it became clear to the poet that geographical condition of the earth had become very clear to him. That he understood that the earth was round and it consisted lot of water, and the land mass is very less. The land area is less and the water content is more. He had understood that, and shape of the earth is also round. All these things he could understand when the plane reached 6 miles. When plane was at 10,000 feet, he could understand that why particular areas were more populated, why only these areas are developed, why not other areas are not developed, in the sense their water facilities and land is good in condition, like natural resources, when they wherever they are good, the man got attracted to there. And kind of a logical development had happened in that particular area. And when the plane had reached to 6 miles, at that place he could understand the geographical conditions of the earth, that is, it is round in shape, and land is the amount of land is less when compared to the water is more on the earth planet, and the land is very less. All these things he could analyze at 6 miles height. And also at that point of height, he could feel kind of he was little bit sad and miserable, and he was feeling sorry for the state of the human conditions, how human beings are living, because they are living with a ill will, like no bad will, and they are very jealous to one another, and they were hating each other. Hatredness is becoming more, jealousy is becoming more, and they are becoming bad will people, and they're constructing borders and barriers among the cities, countries. And because of all these things, coexistence is not happening. People are not living together, and people are not living happily, and they're not even just living in a mutual respected community. People are not respecting one another. So all these things are happening, but he couldn't find the reason why this is happening at that uh, height. Because you see, we can only analyze the outer appearance, isn't it? When he had gone to that height, he could see why the people are living in particular area, because water resources are there, rivers are there, valleys are there, and the development is being done in an unplanned way, in unavoidable circumstances. There is no proper way, proper style in development. It is not in a geometrical proportions, in a proper shape. The development is not done. All these things he could analyze, because it is clearly visible. But he was feeling sorry for human hatredness, jealousy, and as well as a bad will, because we human beings have built walls across the cities and trying to harm one another. Because of that, we ourselves are suffering, and he couldn't understand why such things are happening. So all these were the analysis of the poet when he had gone in a jet plane to a certain height. So this is what about the geography lesson about this poem, children. Hope you have understood this poem, children. If you have any doubts, try to contact us so that we will clarify your doubts. Hari Om. Thank you.